Hey, I'm Karai. Like some Viktor content, some middling content? Consider subscribing, maybe even hitting that like button. It'll help me up a lot. And if you do, you'll get blue buff. Viktor Challenger. The only rule, I can only play Viktor. Unless it's banned, then we're playing Orianna. No Viktor jungle, no Viktor support, maybe Viktor bot and that's about it.
Hello friends, welcome back to the Victor 2 Challenger series. I took a small break, went out for a con, and now I'm back. And for today, we will be playing against ZAC. I believe this game is actually pre-recorded, or this is a game recorded before I took my break. And this will be, or I will be doing a matchup catalog where I will just have videos on that catalog or in the sheet for future references against weird matchups such as this one. But without further ado, against ZAC, since he's a tank, you really want to take Phase Rush, mainly because that if he sticks onto you, he can't really kill you unless he keeps sticking on to you. I know that might be the general consensus for all champions, but for tanks, they just kill you with base damage. That's why Sunfire Diana is a thing, because Diana has a really good ability to keep on sticking on top of you. I'm surprised I realized nothing. Anyways, against ZAC, you want to abuse the range as Viktor. You really don't want to let ZAC get priority over the lane. The dangers might include, or you might get ganked by the enemy jungler, but as long as you stack a really huge wave, such as this one, you should be able to go for a cheater recall. For a cheater recall, you really just want to stack at least wave 2 with the third wave, and then crash it. And then you just want to base, and realistically, it doesn't really matter what item you get as long as you get an item. This achieves a couple of things. One, you get a small item lead, and secondly, you restore your mana pool and your health pool. The reason for so is because Viktor uses a lot of mana, so any amount of mana that you can restore is really good. The wave will be pushing in towards us, but it's fine as long as it's just right in front of a turret where it will just stay around there. We see the Wukong around, so we're not really looking to fight here, but ZAC does try to come in. I see that my Kha'Zix has a healthier lead in terms of the health. And we also have we have the numbers lead, but I think even without the Amumu, we definitely would want that. Notice how I didn't flash, or notice how I didn't use my E and held it until Wukong flash. That's a small tip sometimes. Like if you know the enemy doesn't have, or if you know that the enemy still has flash, you really don't want to use your abilities, especially if your ability is long range. You just want to avoid having the enemy dodge your ability as much as you can. But anyways, going back to the lane, you can see that the lane state right now is kind of slow pushing. I think if I actually didn't hit the wave, or my teammates didn't hit the wave, it would actually freeze in front of my turret. But because we didn't do so, the wave is slow pushing. I think the best case scenario right now is to push it in the upcoming wave and crash it, base, probably TP back. The reason why we want to TP back is because the upcoming wave after this one is going to be a normal wave. Had the upcoming wave be a cannon wave, it would actually be perfect. So I would just base, come back, and then the wave won't be pushing back to me fast enough. I think ZAC is one of those champions that has enough AoE abilities to push fast, but he's I'm not sure, because I think his one of his abilities are low on cooldown and has a pretty good base damage. And it's also AoE. I'm not sure why I actually stay in lane. I think I want to abuse my red buff a bit more and also see where the Wukong is. So I'm really in no threat of getting ganked. I know that Senna and Nasus is still bot lane. I'm not sure why I'm playing. Like, you can see that my movements here are like, oh hey, I'm really scared. I'm just using my abilities smart. But realistically, I should just walk up, try to poke him. Because realistically, even if he tries to jump on me, I still have Phase Rush. So we can easily escape if he just try to jump on me. And again, we shouldn't really be afraid if we know where the enemy jungler is. And we should try to abuse our lead as much as we can. In this case, since I have red buff and know where the Wukong is, we should really just walk up to auto the minions to farm and use our abilities to harass the ZAC. You can see right here that ZAC and Wukong are chasing down the Kha'Zix. My initial thought was that, okay, I'll just instantly push because I have my upgrade. I think a better choice might have just been to... I could have just left the lane without pushing because the wave is frozen in front of my turret. Alternatively, I could have just instantly shoved it with my ult and my E. I don't think fighting here was the most ideal situation, even though we have a pretty good lead over the enemy. I have level 6. We have the numbers advantage. Amu's right here. you know, everything is just working out for us. We do lose one wave, which is not ideal. But getting 3 kills, yeah, you know, it's worth it and all. Ultimately, we still want to push up this wave. We want to be as greedy as we can when we can. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you're not too familiar with Viktor. I'd just say, like, if you want to scale up or you want to play Viktor in a similar situation, just base. As long as the minions or your minions are at the enemy turret, you should be able to get a pretty good recall, regardless of where the enemy minions are, in most cases. So right now we base, we get a Lost Chapter, and we get a Codex, Fiendish Codex. You'll notice that I have yellow runes, yellow secondary runes, which are Presence of Mind and Cut Down. And this is very game specific. Notice that the enemy that we're playing against, a Ornn, a Nasus, and a ZAC, and also kind of a Wukong, which has relatively good health growth as a champion. So it's a no-brainer really, just to get these kind of items to deal with tanks. Right here, I did a little mistake that, again, like, I'm not sure why I feel like I was playing so afraid, when realistically, again, even if he tries to jump on me, I can easily always proc Phase Rush. I made another mistake here. I went a bit too far in. I didn't dodge the arm, and then I got hit by the subsequent slingshot, and I got killed. I really shouldn't have died here. It's actually really, really bad because the wave isn't in a really good spot. It's gonna be slightly in front of this turret. It won't freeze because of how the minion waves are. But it is not the most ideal situation, especially if you're ahead. If you're ahead, you shouldn't really die here. But you know, it happens. So again, like, this is why we're doing this. We're making, like, videos for future reference to know, oh hey, like, again, ZAC, you want to avoid getting hit by the by the Q and his slingshot. So there's 2 abilities. A lot of people think that, oh, if I dodge the slingshot, I should be okay. But no, even if he doesn't hit the slingshot, if he lands his arms on you, it's pretty much the same effect as landing his slingshot. Obviously, landing both will be bad, but landing one is still almost as bad. Right now, again, you can see that ZAC is building a tank build, so going Phase Rush here was definitely the right choice. The only way ZAC can really kill me is, again, he has to stick on me and let his Sunfire do the job. Without Sunfire, he can't really kill me. I think, like, even without Sunfire, the other, you know, Bami Cinder items would still kill me. But right now, we're just constantly pushing in the wave. The wave, like, we're in a pretty good, we're in a really good winning position right now. We don't really want to interact with the ZAC as much. We just want to look for farm as much as we can. Right now, we're just putting in a ward down deep in the enemy jungle. The reason why we can do this is because we have our winning bot lane, and the ally jungler is around our bot side too. If your bot lane is not winning, if your jungler is not winning, don't do this. It's really risky. At best, just put a ward in the river. But again, we just want to avoid dying. Right now, in this kind of position, we just want to avoid dying and just constantly scale. Just get our items. Don't be greedy. Because again, like, we can go up for these kind of pokes, but what is 200 damage gonna do to a ZAC with who has about 1500 health with about 60 MR? We're not really gonna kill him alone. Realistically, we need our teammates. So going up to poke like that is a bit risky, but you know, if we have the information, such as if we know where the Wukong is, then doing that is fine. I believe right here we push up this wave. We go get the cannon here. This is like kind of a risky spot where the Wukong could come around like this, like so. I actually didn't remember this, but this is the reason why they're able to do this is because there is a cannon wave, and usually people try to prey on us on cannon waves. That flash didn't happen, by the way. I totally wanted to flash there just to bait the enemy to come onto me, which worked out pretty well. So yeah, at this point, the game is pretty much over. I think, like, if I wasn't prepared that, oh hey, like, I wasn't prepared that if the enemy Wukong wasn't gonna come, I might have died there, but because we understand that, oh hey, we're in a vulnerable spot here, we want to farm, it's clear that we want to use our cooldown on the minions, and then we want to base, hence we are slightly weaker during that couple of seconds, which is enough for the enemy jungler and the enemy mid laner to gank us. Fortunately, Amumu is smurfing on this game, constantly roaming to mid and getting us really, really good kills, really, really good catches. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. It is 12-1. I'll probably go over some team fights, but most of the game is probably most of the laning phase is over. Turns out there wasn't any good team fights aside from this one, which is 22 minutes in the game. You can see that we're pretty farm up. We have pretty good items. I died while having 10 seconds with Medjai's. You know, things happen. But you can see here in this fight, it is a 2v4. It is a messy fight, but we try to space ourselves against as much enemies as I can. You can see that we're trying our best to always like have us like imagine we have an invisible bubble around us, and we're just trying our best to not let the enemy inside an invisible bubble. I'll play it again in slow-mo. So right here you can see that I'm trying to TP. You can hear the click that I'm trying to TP, but my TP cooldown is not yet ready. So I couldn't TP to that ward, and unfortunately that ward did expire. But fortunately, there is a vision ward, a pink ward, and I do decide to TP in there. I noticed that, you know, the things we have to watch out for is the ZAC slingshot, the Ornn E, Wukong's R. So these are the things that we're trying to space around. But since ZAC slingshot is gone, we're just trying our best to not get hit by Ornn's Ting. Now that Ornn's Ting is down, Ornn's E is down, we know that we're pretty safe. I know that ZAC's slingshot is coming back up. That's why I'm trying to avoid going in any further. You can see that I'm just trying to run, avoid. After all their CC abilities are down, we can confidently go in and even get the scuttle for ourselves. We pop a scrying orb just to see if anyone's sitting in this brush. Ornn tries to get a cheeky knock up onto me, but because we have the scanner on to see the silhouette of Ornn, we easily clean up this fight. Again, it's a pretty messy fight. I wish I used my ult on the Ornn instead of the Senna. My Ornn was kind of wasted there, but nevertheless, it is a pretty good 2v4 for us. Only the Nasus was in there because he was already so low. But anyways, this is the ZAC matchup for Viktor. I think it's not a hard matchup considering how I think it's hard to say because we had the Amumu. I'm trying to imagine if we didn't, you know, actually win the early game. I think overall against ZAC, you really just want to avoid getting hit by, you know, the slingshot and the arms. And most importantly, you want to take the phase rush for sure. I think going cut down in the case where if the enemy has like maybe another extra tank, it's probably worth it to take it. But otherwise, I think overall just take phase rush, Leandri's, avoid the slingshot, pay respect to his base damage because he will kill you. Overall, if he just try to jump onto you, you know, just cut him around. If he slingshots on top of you, W on top of yourself, and we should be okay. So I hope you guys learned something here in this ZAC matchup. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I'll definitely see you guys in the next video. Peace out.